it was the very first time I had ever tried DMT. On one of my deepest DMT journeys, I had a full breakthrough dose, which means I fully left my body. I was not here. My whole life, I wanted to know, universe, show me proof. I want to see a UFO. I want to have an out-of-body experience. I want definitive proof that there's more to reality than solid physical matter. And I never got that until that moment with DMT. We are so malleable. Don't ever believe a single person that says you can't change your brain after 30 or your neuroplasticity is like, it's all bullshit.
Yet what resistance did you have to overcome to step into more of who you truly are? We know that death is inevitable, but what's your relationship with death? Today, I'm here with James Xander, a psychonaut, a psychedelic explorer, a spiritual teacher. And I've got a fascinating conversation ahead of us here where we discuss how you can use psychedelics as a tool to expand your consciousness. And there was a particular part in the episode where we talked and contemplated about the idea of death and how we can use that urgency and like what you would actually want on your gravestone to be left. Like, I've really found that fascinating, and I think you'll get some insights about how you can create a sense of urgency in your life to create. We also talked about the power of choice and how you can choose in any moment, and that was a really fascinating part of the conversation as well. So James, he's a creator of Unlock God Mode, a transformational 30-day journey into self-mastery and spiritual alignment. And he's the voice behind the daily podcast, Good Morning Legend, which helps people start their day aligned with purpose, power, and possibility. James is on a mission to reach 1 billion people, awakening humanity to the power of plant medicine and to raise the consciousness of this planet. This episode is one to listen into, one to take notes on, or whether you're driving or walking. Like, we appreciate you taking this time, and this is going to give you an elevation in your consciousness and allow you to transform. So I look forward to you taking on this code and implementing it into your life. Enjoy. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you having you here. Like, we met in the Bali circles, and the conversations that we've had have just been fascinating, eye-opening, all around psychedelics, consciousness, spirituality. And I've learned so much from our interactions. And I'm looking forward to having, deep, meaningful conversation today to find out more about psychedelics, consciousness, and your experiences with it and how you've guided others through certain experiences that have allowed them to expand. And so I think the best place to start today will be that moment where you had the DMT pen in your hand in Vancouver. Tell me about that journey.
It was the very first time I had ever tried DMT. It was a pivotal moment in my life. To give you a little bit of context, up until that point, I'd only had maybe one LSD experience and maybe one or two mushroom experiences. And then I got my hands on this DMT vape pen. And my friend explained how to use it, and he sent me home with it. And I got home. I was living with roommates. And I sort of tried doing it in my room, but I felt the energy of the house. There was too many people in the house. So I think it was 11 p.m. or midnight. I take my Honda Civic and I drive to this like park where there's no one, and it's pitch black where I park. I park the car, put it on, stationary. I just turn on the stereo, put on some music, and I take the first hit of DMT. Now, this is a vape pen, so it doesn't send you full on into hyperspace. It just gives you a little taste of the DMT realm. And even from that first hit, I will never forget it, bro. To watch reality shift and reform, and the way I described it once was finally seeing frequency and vibration and energy. Everything that the gurus in all the spiritual texts have talked about for ages. And I sort of knew it intellectually, but on that first DMT trip, I knew it, really saw it, felt it firsthand. that reality was malleable. Reality was more of a dream or a simulation or a hologram was the word that came to mind. And that it was all made of light and frequency and vibration. And to know that for sure from a first-hand perspective, that left a really lasting mark on me. Because from that point on, when people would talk about magic or manifestation or synchronicity or even things like astrology, it was no longer unbelievable to me that reality was more mysterious than I had previously thought.
Mm.
Because the James before that moment was maybe a little bit too intellectual or too, what is it, right brain? No, left brain, logical. And DMT was like this portal, this doorway that said, hey, there's more down here. Do you want to go down the rabbit hole?
And you wanted to go down the rabbit hole, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Had you done education around spirituality, consciousness, a lot of self-development work before that hit?
Yeah.
Or was that like an intro into that world?
No, so interestingly enough, when I was 13, a random kid from my school recommended the book Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks, which is a classic book about how thoughts create reality. It's all about law of attraction. Anyone who's read Abraham Hicks might be familiar with this book. And so from the age of 13, 14, I really understood that thoughts create reality. I was not fully embodying it yet. I was not a master of my thoughts, but I knew that, yes, synchronicity and intention and the way you think, the way you feel creates reality. And so Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks led me to other books like James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, amazing book. I think it led me to The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and all of these famous texts on how thoughts create reality. What was different about psychedelics and what was so exciting to me about it was on psychedelics, I actually could see how thoughts create reality. I could see how a negative thought in a mushroom trip instantly created a negative experience in my physical reality, in my room, in the flavor of the trip. I could see how love and appreciation instantly started adding more light and love and warmth to the room. And on DMT specifically, it was wild. So like I said, I was in my car playing music. I have my phone on a holder, and I can see the Spotify playhead like moving across the line. And as I inhale the DMT, time literally starts stretching, and the little dot slows down. The ticker with the seconds slows down. The music stretches out. To me, to witness that firsthand, how malleable reality is, it made things like law of attraction, law of assumption, energetics, made it it went from the realm of maybe to, oh, this is absolutely a reality. No more doubts.
Like bang, shift in that moment.
It was in a way what I had been seeking my whole life. Since that age of 13 or 14, my whole life I wanted to know, universe, show me proof. I want to see a UFO. I want to have an out-of-body experience. I want definitive proof that there's more to reality than solid physical matter. And I never got that until that moment with DMT. That for me was that intention manifesting. Here is proof. Now it's funny because someone listening to this who maybe has never done DMT might say, yeah, but bro, you were hallucinating. Big deal. Until you do DMT and you actually see what it does to your body and what it does to your mind, it's almost impossible to explain how profound the experience is. It's not just you're not just hallucinating visuals. You are the visuals. Your consciousness is being morphed and changed and shifted. It feels like you're traveling through frequencies and timelines. It's even the words I'm speaking now don't really do it justice. Can never do it justice.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you take these experiences and then try to even explain it, is like
It's 1%. It's
Yeah.
1% of 1%.
Mm.
It's more of a story I'm telling than the visceral, raw experience of seeing behind the veil, seeing behind the simulation.
Yeah. What challenges did you have from having an experience like that and multiple experiences and then coming back to the 3D reality and integrating? Were there any fears or any challenges or anything that you had to sort of help with the integration process of bringing that into more of the physical realm?
The main challenge for me was integration. So after that DMT experience, I delved deeper into mushrooms. And I would have these incredible, deep, heroic doses of mushrooms and experience divinity and love and bliss. And then 2 days later, I'm back in 3D and I'm still human and I still have my flaws. I still have my weaknesses. And in the beginning, it was really frustrating because in the trip, you feel like God. You feel like you can do anything. You're unlimited. And that is the truth. We are unlimited. We are infinite. We are eternal. And we're also human. So for me, that duality of coming back to my flaws and telling myself, well, asking myself, did I really learn something from this trip? That was a journey. And what helped a lot was to realize, yes, I am changing. I'm not changing as quickly as maybe my fantasy would be of like from 0 to 100, from flaws to perfection, but I'm changing bit by bit. It's almost like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And over years of doing psychedelics, to look back and go, wow, in these last 3 years, the change is extraordinary. But from one trip, sometimes there can be frustration of, oh, I experienced this heightened, incredible state, and now I'm back on Earth. Damn it. But don't worry, you're integrating. There's always, who was it that said, once consciousness is expanded, it can never return to its original dimensions.
Mm.
So once you're expanded by a substance like DMT or mushrooms or ayahuasca or bufo, you will never return to the same person you were before. You're always a bit more expanded. And yeah, that's where the challenge has been, is the integration. How much of this trip can I bring back to 3D and integrate into my life? How much of that ideal self, the ideal James that I see in my mushroom journeys, can I bring back to my human level self?
Mm. Yeah, that's so powerful. And like in an experience like with psychedelics, you have these profound insights and yeah, access to, like you've called it, God mode. And then you realize that, oh, we're infinite, we're everything. And then like coming back to the reality, that integration process of being like, well, who have I been, almost like what character have I been playing as? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like we are characters in our own movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you have these experiences, and then it's like, all right, now I've been playing this character, but actually I've realized there's so many different potentials. Now I have a choice to change. I have a choice to play a different character, or not even a different character, but just adjust. I'm visualizing a yeah, like a game that you were playing, and then you've almost got like different parts of your character, and you can just adjust.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
strength meters,
strength
like
meters.
health, fitness, wealth, charisma, and like which one are you going to tweak today?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
where have I been playing at on that scale of like 0 to 10 in each
Yeah.
of these areas? And then you have the like an experience with say psychedelic, and it's like, oh wow, I can change this, I can adjust it. Because that helps with this detachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beauty of a psychedelic trip is for 6 to 8 hours in a mushroom journey, for example, you're taken out of your day-to-day egoic self and you're shown unlimited possibilities. And it's breathtaking to see who you could be when you're unlimited. Then you're put back into the maze, the game of life, but you never forget what you saw. And so your mind has been expanded, your imagination has been expanded to more possibility. And now you get to choose, can I step into James 2.0? Can I step into this new character? And like you say, we are all playing characters. Even the most authentic moment, I'm trying to be as authentic as I can be in my life. But just by virtue of being in this game, your ego has a certain set of principles of who is James and who isn't James. In this situation, I'm really confident. In this situation, I'm insecure. Well, who said that? You decided that at some point in your journey. And over time, with habit, it got encoded into your avatar. And you can say, that's just how I am authentically. But it's a character that you've chosen to play. And at any moment, when you make the decision, you know what, that insecure part of me, it's not real. It's something I decided I was going to be insecure about. And now I'm going to choose step by step to step into absolute security and confidence with that.
Mm, that's so powerful. And yeah, it's like that. This is the thing with the transformation code and the listeners, it's changing from the inside out. Because, like you shared there, the insecurities, like there's been a moment in time where an event happened, and then that event we decided,
that's how
bang,
I am.
This is me.
Like, I don't dance.
Yeah,
I don't go in front of the camera.
And this is what we were chatting about just before, right?
Yes.
Where I was sharing my next level of expression, where if I track back to even the days where I used to go out clubbing and partying with my friends, and when I was younger. And I would be the guy who would buy a drink, and then I would just stand around the outside and I would watch everyone else dance and just be like, nah, that's not me. And then the same when it came to speaking, where I just wouldn't in school, public speaking, I mean, they'd call it public speaking, but just in front of a class, I'd go bright red like a beetroot and I wouldn't be able to get my words out. And this piece of expression, it's like these moments in time where you make that decision, I'm safer not to express. And then it's like, actually, this is the life journey of realizing all these blocks and limitations that we've put up, these internal things that we've had an experience and made sense of it that is not even true.
Yeah.
Yeah. What experiences have you had with that?
A great many. I would say one potent one was I was very uncomfortable being in front of a camera. And I could never have imagined 10 years ago that I would be a YouTuber or that I would have a podcast or that I would speak to the camera for hours a day to thousands of people. There was something in that character of James that was insecure and that didn't want to be seen and was not comfortable being seen. And at some moment, over probably multiple mushroom trips, I started to develop an inkling that the mission I had in my mind, which was to educate 1 billion people about psychedelics and to help 1 billion people tap into their deepest part of their soul and uplevel their consciousness, that mission was going to require me to be in front of audiences and in front of a camera. And so I had to make the decision, this is what we're doing. This is who we are now. And it's amazing because after recording, over 100 videos now on my YouTube channel, over 50 podcast episodes, it's so comfortable now. There's still moments of insecurity here and there, but by and large, it's a night and day difference. And so I tell this story because we are so malleable. Don't ever believe a single person that says you can't change your brain after 30 or your neuroplasticity is like, it's all bullshit. Don't ever let other people's limitations imprint on you. They know nothing. They know nothing.
Yeah. And so for the listener who's got that thing, whether it be speaking or dancing or whatever it is that they're looking to step into, like their 2.0 version of themselves, like what resistance, how do you overcome that resistance where all your body and your mind is saying, no, don't do this, yet there's something inside, like the soul part, it's like, no, this is my mission, like to impact 1 billion people, to educate them with psychedelics. It's like you knew that you had to unpick this journey of being seen and speaking. Yet what resistance did you have to overcome to step into more of who you truly are? And how can the listener also embody that?
I would say for any listener facing resistance, let's call it fear, right? Because that's what it is. You want to step into the greatest, most legendary version of yourself. Who doesn't want that? Everyone wants that. They have their own idea of it, but everyone wants to be great at something. And you see the greatness in your mind's eye, and maybe you even believe I can be great one day. But then there's all of these fears and naysayers and doubters. Sometimes you are your own naysayer. That's usually actually the loudest voice. The way I would overcome that is, number one, have a very strong why. So for me, the mission became greater than the insecurity. The mission to teach and empower people around consciousness, mindset, and psychedelics became greater than my desire to stay small and stay hidden. So if someone, maybe they want to dance or act or be an artist or be an author, and they're afraid of putting their work out there, your desire to be great at that has to be bigger than your desire to stay small. And that's something you can cultivate by visualizing who you could become in 5 years if you actually went for it. If you went full out, who could you become? And then visualize, who could you become if you stayed small for the next 5 years? How disappointing would that be if you died with your music still in you? Right? Where Steve Jobs had this amazing line, I'm going to paraphrase it, something to the effect of, we're all mortal, and if we just remind ourselves every day that we're going to die, then you realize you're already naked. You have nothing to hide. You're already naked. You're going to die anyway. So who is it that you're afraid of? When you're going to be 80, 90, 100 maybe, and you're passing on to the next realm, the DMT realm perhaps, will it matter who judged you or who laughed at you, or will it matter that you played full fucking out?
And I love that. And I love that perspective. And yeah, and in theory, it's like bang. Like, I feel like when you hear that stuff, it's so powerful. And you're like, yeah, it's so, you almost have that moment where you go, yeah, we are going to die. And that acceptance of like, yeah, let's play all out. Yeah, it's similar to when you have these experiences in psychedelics and then you come back to this human experience. It's so easy to forget this stuff in day to day. And then there's this resistance that's there that you still have to move through.
Yeah. So let me give a practical thing.
Yeah.
Just take the smallest, most direct step.
Love that. Yeah. The smallest, most direct step.
Smallest, most direct step. So right now I'm working with a trainer at a gym. Great trainer. You've had him on the podcast.
He's some guy, Daddy.
He's fantastic.
Shout out to Daddy. What a
man. I was going to a new gym, and this new gym was filled with bodybuilders and people that were way more athletic and fit than me. And the first training session I was going to have with Daddy, I woke up at 6 a.m. The session was 7 a.m. And everything in my body was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go because I am afraid to look like a fool in front of all these people who have been doing fitness for 20, 30, 40 years, and they're experts at it. And then something in me spoke, well, this is the moment. This is the choice. This is how legends are made. Really, like this is how you become a legend, whatever that means to you in your own life, or this is how you stay small. This is how you sleep in on life, or this is how you step up to the fear. Like, to someone listening to this who, who's been going to the gym all their life, it might seem like a very inconsequential fear. The thing is, all of our fears are like that. Whether we're afraid of speaking or dancing, they're all small, but we make them so big. We give them so much power. So I tell that story as there's a moment in everyone's life, and it happens every day, really. Every day you get a choice. Do I step up or do I stay small? And so to bring it to a practical level, just take the smallest step. For me, that smallest step that morning was just get up and go to the gym. Even like if I wanted to break it down further, it could have been just drive to the gym and go through the front door. You don't even have to train if you don't want to. Even that already breaks it to a very manageable level.
Yeah.
I forgot, I think it was Brian Tracy called it the salami technique. No one wants to eat like a huge chunk of salami, but if you slice it into tiny, delicate pieces, suddenly it's so appetizing. So you can do that with goals. This huge goal of I need to go out there and be great versus what is one small thing I can do today to step into that.
Mm. Yeah, I love that because then it's manageable. And what I found is when you then take those small steps forward, it then starts to become almost like stacking
Stacking the wins.
the wins and
It's
being like,
compounding.
yeah, yeah,
Every day it compounds. And before you know it, you've recorded 100 videos.
yeah.
And now the identity of a YouTuber is ingrained in you. And you're no longer this insecure boy who's like, oh, I want to be on YouTube. It's like you are the YouTuber.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that for everyone listening, just replace YouTuber with, your goal.
Yeah, just like replace the fear of like looking like in the gym with whatever your fear is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful because people want to naturally, anyone listening to this podcast is they're looking to grow and to move their life to the next level. And I feel like sometimes there's these blocks, like you want to take the steps forward, but sometimes the long-term vision can be it's clear, but also it feels out of reach to like what is safe in your body now. And then like these practical steps have been like, actually just take one foot in front of the other and then start to stack these small wins, whether that be getting in the gym, bang, suddenly every session that goes by, whether you have a good session or not, you're building the identity of I am a gym goer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the speaker, like I am a speaker. But you have to show yourself through action, I think.
Yeah. The number 3 has been really helpful for me. So 3 months and 3 years. 3 months is typically where you're going to see results. So let's say you just start a business and you're working your ass off and you're taking all the right actions. By month 2, you might still not actually see your income go up, even though you're doing all the right things. But by 3 months, you're probably going to see something has shifted. But it's because you took actions in month 1.
Yeah.
Same thing with the gym, right? It's like by 3 months, you should see a physical change. But it's because of your consistency over the whole 3 months. 3 years is a fantastic way for me to dream bigger. So if someone was to say, in 1 year, become a great podcaster, you potentially could do that, but there's a bit of a pressure to that. But if you say, hey, how much could you achieve in 3 years? In 3 years of working on your voice, your interviewing skills, your presence, your charisma, yourself, your personal growth, how much could you achieve in 3 years? And when I do that, I see so much potential. And it's close enough that it's manageable. It's not like a 10-year, 20, 50-year vision, but it's long enough to give me breathing room to say, hey, no matter the downs and the setbacks, I can achieve a lot in 3 years.
Yeah, nice. Just extending the time frame.
Extending the time frame.
Takes the pressure off.
Exactly.
Right.
But not so much that it's like, oh, and maybe in 10 years I'll do this. No, it's like you're doing it now. You're taking the actions now, but you're giving yourself the grace of 3 years to fully embody that identity. And typically what happens is you end up getting there faster. It's a weird thing. If you give yourself too little time to integrate, you might feel this pressure and you might actually stress yourself out. But if you give yourself 3 years, you'll typically get, like in 1 year, you'll see huge results, typically. Or at least you'll see that you're on the way. And that is so gratifying.
Yeah.
Often just knowing I'm on the way, look how far I've come in 1 year. That's all you need. That's the belief, the faith that keeps you going.
Yes. Love that. And Matt, I'm curious so these journeys, there's the psychedelic journeys and your continual journeys that you've had with consciousness, with your meditations, with working with mushrooms, DMT. On the other side of those experiences, did you ever see something which was challenging to integrate?
Yes.
Or yeah. Or you had some resistance around what you saw, what came up, yeah, I'm really curious about you exploring that.
I it's so funny because the first hour of the trip, I often call it like where your ego is being taken apart, and that's where the resistance usually is. And I notice it that first hour, my ego is still online and the mushrooms are coming in, and there's almost a little bit of a fight. I think I'm right. The mushrooms are trying to teach me something. And if I can surrender and relax and flow through that first hour, by hour 3, 4, 5, that's where the heart fully opens up. The mind opens up to possibility. The ego's volume is turned down. And that's where I can receive the lessons. There was one trip I remember where I could feel that I was not understanding what the mushrooms were trying to teach me. And I was so frustrated. And I went to the bathroom and I'm like sitting on the floor and I'm like, guys, I don't get it. Like I'm talking to the mushrooms. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's only been 1 hour. Okay. Maybe I should just go back to bed and just sit and relax and see what happens next. And I went back and I relaxed. And in 2, 3 hours, my ego, relaxed and I could see the lessons. I could see what was coming through. So I think there's a lesson there where we can be so impatient to be right or to understand. But if you can just sit still and let the mushrooms teach you lovingly, patiently, yeah, that will go a long way.
Yeah. So in that situation, there was the self of you that was wanting to be like, what's going on? And but you had to sit present with the mushrooms to let the messages come through. Is that right? Yeah.
The metaphor I use is like imagine like a ball of yarn and it's tangled up from blocks, traumas, resistance, fears. And that first 2 hours of a trip, the mushrooms are slowly but surely taking the ball of yarn apart and just smoothing out the creases and smoothing out the lines. And in that moment, I was like, hey, I want to get to the finish line. I was feeling like the mushrooms were taking me there, but wanted to get there faster. And the process is the process. You have to sit through the untangling. You have to look at your fears. You have to look at your shadows. You can't just bypass it and go to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't learn. So what I've noticed in my trips, and someone asked me recently, a client who's going to do a mushroom ceremony with me, he said, what if I have a bad trip? And my answer to that is, it's really not a bad trip. It's just how resistant are you to that untangling process? If you can surrender to it, it'll be perhaps challenging, but overall smooth. If you really resist, now it's like you're clenching, you're being in a struggle mode, and that's going to create a bad trip.
Yeah. And I can relate here because I've had one of these bad trip experiences years ago, which I'm rebuilding the relationship with mushrooms specifically, because like with other plant medicines, I've had journeys and they've been, beautiful, profound, challenging, but so much wisdom. Yeah, there was the one trip with mushrooms, which there was a lot of resistance around what came up for me. And then through that resistance, it was almost like this, let's call it like a dark ball. The dark ball turned into like this, it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because the mushrooms were just trying to be like, look at this.
Look at this.
And I was like, nope, nope, nope. And the more I pushed it away, the bigger it got to the point where it was played out almost like a horror movie. And that's what it felt like. And it took me some time to integrate that experience. And then now I've integrated it, I realized what the lessons were inside of and what I needed to see and process that was really challenging and tough at that time. Yet actually through the integration process, I've been able to go back to that experience and realize all of the gifts and the lessons that were within that. But bro, it was so hard to accept that. And then it's a journey to rebuild the trust with mushrooms, but it's not actually the trust with mushrooms. It's actually the trust with myself, Yeah.
One intention I like to go into any psychedelic journey is just show me the truth. I want to see the truth. I'm ready to see the truth. Right? No matter how scary or horrific or disturbing or shadowy it is, let me see it. I guess you could also have another intention, which could go something like, show me the truth I'm ready to handle. That could be a bit of a
Yes.
safer intention. Typically, I find mushrooms and substances like ayahuasca, they have a spirit energy. There's a very loving spiritual guidance that is flowing through those plants. And so you're never really going to be shown anything that you're not ready to handle. That's my belief. And so if you are being challenged and tested on a trip, then that means you are ready to pass that test. And there's no wrong or right. If you resist the whole trip, there will be another opportunity, another trip to go back and integrate that. But if, as much as possible, if you can surrender to what is being shown to you and say, fuck, I don't want to see this, but let me get curious. I have these 4 touchstones: curiosity, detachment, trust, and surrender. So you want to surrender in a trip. You want to trust yourself and trust the plant medicine. You want to have a healthy level of detachment. So no matter what is being shown to you, know that you're safe. You're in your room or wherever you are. You're going to come out of this trip. Everything is fine. So you can have a little bit of detachment. And what was the last one? Surrender, detachment, trust. And oh my God, I just said it. That's out of my mind.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the surrendering piece is like, and all of those are so, and they're things which we draw back into day-to-day life. But I just think the actual experiences they amplify whatever's going on internally,
oh my God,
like
so much.
tenfold, hundredfold.
Yeah.
Which is why when you're resisting something, it's like gonna amplify that
100%.
to a new level. Yeah.
My very first ayahuasca journey, I'll never forget it because the first 3 hours felt like the worst trip of my life. I literally thought to myself, oh my God, it's only been 2-3 hours. How am I going to survive the rest of the night? Because I knew that it was going to be at least 8 hours or so. It felt so much grief flowed up from God knows where, probably all the corners that I had put it underneath the carpet, metaphorical carpet of my life.
Yeah.
And it was all flowing up. And it was so intense and it was so raw. And I felt my personal grief. I felt also the collective grief of humanity. It was overwhelming. And I felt everything was off. The lady singing some song felt out of tune and people were purging on the left and the right. And I was like, this is the worst experience ever. Why did I choose to do this? And then I remembered my mushroom journeys. And the lesson from the mushrooms was a trip is an arc. You have the ascent, you have the peak, you have the descent. So just stay in it. Maybe the ascent is really bumpy, like a flight taking off and there's turbulence. Okay, you're experiencing turbulence. Let's just breathe. Let's surrender. Let's see what happens next. And I sort of semi-relaxed and I tried to surrender. I remember I had a notebook and I was like scribbling words in it that were keeping me grounded. And slowly but surely, the grief started shifting into love and joy and compassion and grace and forgiveness. The moment it started going from grief to love, I suddenly realized what a profound gift that grief was. To experience it so raw, so intensely. I'd never experienced it that intensely. Tears flowing down my face, so much grief. Once I knew I was safe, once the love was taking hold of me, there was a part of me that said, hey, I want to go back there. Now that I know I'm safe, I want to experience that rawness. In it, get me out of this. I do not want to feel this. This is too much. As soon as I'm out of it, hey, that was a gift. That was profound. So that left a lasting mark on me. To know that the nightmare you might be experiencing in a trip could actually be the most profound gift.
Mm,
You're just not seeing it yet.
mm. That's beautiful. And like with something like grief or sadness,
Mhm.
it's it's interesting when you actually ease into that, because old self, younger self would push that away.
Mhm.
Yet when you actually ease into it, there's a beauty that's behind that rawness
Yeah.
that you shared.
Yeah.
Yeah. How have you used that when you're navigating situations in 3D?
Ooh, great question.
Just in, as something like if a life event happens, or something happens where it's appropriate to
Yeah.
have a level of sadness, or appropriate to grieve a loss of a person, or
Mhm.
grieve losing your old self and leaving that behind and moving into a new self. Yeah, I'm curious how you've managed to take that lesson
Mhm.
from the psychedelic journey, and actually you felt that experience of like, oh, there's beauty in this, and
Yeah.
how you've used that in navigating day to day.
One understanding I've had is that there's a part of us that actually enjoys the drama, that actually enjoys the both the peaks of life, but also the lows. When you're in your lowest low, as much as we like to say we don't like it, get me out of this, get me back to a good place in life, I think there's a part of our soul that deeply enjoys that. In the same way that when we go to see a thrilling adventure movie, we love being taken on a ride. And so um, maybe that's one of the ways I've learned from mushrooms and from psychedelics is to see my life as more of a cosmic movie rather than being so in it. So when life is really beautiful and delicious, go full on in it. And when life gets really challenging, take a little bit of a step back, almost as if you're taking a step back from the screen of life, the movie of life, and just observe it objectively and notice how perhaps instead of a setback, it could be a setup for the next layer of you. It's like every rock bottom moment is it a setback or is it a setup for the next legendary version of you?
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
if
love
you
that.
go bankrupt, that means it's a perfect setup for you to then make all the wealth in the world. And what an amazing story. And if you'd never had that low, you could never have that high.
Mm.
If you lost something really valuable, to that same degree, you can then gain something else. There's a quote from Florence Scovel Shinn which says, "There is no loss in divine mind." There is no loss in divine mind. So we can really only experience loss from the human 3D mind. From a cosmic perspective, nothing is lost. It's only gaining wisdom, spiritual wisdom, experience, important lessons. That's what I believe on the highest level is happening.
Mm. Yeah, it's so interesting as well, because it if we're looking at our life like a movie,
Mhm.
then like you said, there's gonna be rock bottom lows and highs. Like if it was all just highs, then it would be boring. There wouldn't be an experience to have. Like recently we went, and my girlfriend, we climbed in Mount Rinjani in Lombok. Like
Mhm.
you get to the top and you see the views, and there's this like joyful moment where you're like, "Fuck, we've done it.
Yeah.
Like we've got to the top and the views are beautiful." But then to get up that mountain, there was hours of getting. We got up at 2 a.m. We then hiked up the mountain. It was dark, and although the stars were beautiful, there was still like, this challenge that we had to overcome, and then the views at the top were even more beautiful. Yeah, so it's like, rather than actually life being level, like going back to the question with grief and like integrating these experiences, it's it also helps with, number one, seeing your life like a movie. There's highs and lows, and then
Mhm.
also I think for connectedness with others,
Mm.
being able to access those parts of the deeper parts, like the grief and the sadness, not getting lost in it.
Yeah.
Like it was only well, one of our mutual friends, I won't go into detail because it's his story, but it's like lost his brother recently, and it was like a tragic experience, and just the whole the whole experience around it was like horrific, and it was, but then to feel that pain and sadness without getting lost in it allows you to then connect with the other, because you're like, no, I feel you, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
rough. It's painful. And that's the foundation of a relationship. Whereas if you're just always trying to be like joyful and happy, like there's moments for that, but there's also moments to connect on a
Mm-hmm.
deeper level. So you have to be okay. Like I found I've had to be okay with accessing those parts of myself and utilizing them in the right moments to gain connection.
I also want to add something. I don't want to minimize anyone's suffering.
Mm,
Sometimes life can really throw you, a brick at your face. And
mm,
it's and in those moments you're on your knees and it's fucking tough. And honestly, if someone listening to this is going through something like that, I would actually say lean into it. Allow yourself to feel the grief, just like I did in that ayahuasca journey. Allow yourself to feel it fully. Um, and lean on God. That would
mm,
be, I think, a vital key piece of information for anyone listening is in those moments where you feel utterly alone, isolated, like nothing's working out, no one's got your back, something tragic may have happened. In your darkest moment, you can still know with absolute certainty that God is with you and God is beside you and you're never alone. And there's a whole spirit team behind the scenes that is present with you. And although that may be hard to believe to someone who might be agnostic or atheist, one of the gifts that psychedelics has given me is that connection to source and to really feel it and to know it. And so, yeah, I don't want to minimize the suffering that someone might be going through. It's fucking tough out there sometimes. And I also believe we chose it. Both can be
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It's fucking tough and you chose to go through it. On some higher cosmic level, I believe we consented to every experience that we have gone through, even the most horrific ones.
Mm, yeah. That's so true. Like, cause then later on in the journey, you then look back and reflect and go, oh, that's why
Yeah.
that happened.
There's been times where
Yeah.
I've talked to God and I said, look, I truly don't understand why this happened. And hopefully, when I cross over, someone can explain this to me. So maybe even in this lifetime, I might never get it, but I still trust that when I die, I will see the broader picture and I will understand.
Mm. Have you had any moments where you've gone from a psychedelic experience and come back to this physical 3D reality and had resistance of even being here? When because it's different planes, right? There's this plane of in a psychedelic experience where you have this interconnectedness, this oneness, and you have these realizations, and that's with inside of us always. Yet sometimes when you come back to the physical, it's just to integrate that higher frequency and then you come back down. Have you ever been like, oh, can I just stay there all the time?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely have had that experience of feeling the magic of a trip and then coming down and you're like, man, it's especially prominent with, this is not a psychedelic, but commonly used in therapy as well as MDMA,
Mm,
right? So an MDMA is a profound medicine that opens your heart and you feel unconditional love for everything and everyone. And then there's sort of the MDMA whiplash where you come down to your human self and the unconditional love is not there and you're back to your human self and you're like, fuck, I thought I could stay there forever. So there is that. I've also had the opposite experience where on one of my deepest DMT journeys, I had a full breakthrough dose, which means I fully left my body. I was not here. This was not a vape pen. This was like a full on journey. And it felt like dying, if dying was the most beautiful thing that could have ever happened to you. I was in this other realm, surrounded by 5D geometry. I was both looking at the geometry and being the geometry at the same time, energy interacting with itself. And it was an incredibly beautiful experience. But I gotta say, when the DMT started wearing off and I started coming back into the room and my trip guide was there and I could feel the bed and could feel the physicality, I was so grateful to be back. So as much as I loved it up there, I felt a profound, renewed appreciation to be solid and okay, we're grounded. So I think we are so blessed to be in this physical realm. I think, there's only 8 billion lottery tickets to be here. And
Yeah.
the fact that you are here and I am here, I think is a profound gift. Profound. To experience physicality in all of its glory. I think when you're a spirit and I think they're dying to come up here, to come down here.
no,
We're dying to go up there. They're dying to come down here.
But it's so amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it is so amazing. It's like we have these
Light, color, smell, cacao, sparkling water. What more could you ask for?
these bodies like we're able to experience and walk through life and have different experiences. And the smell, the taste, we're able to hear, listen to music and soak that in. It's an incredible experience. Yeah, we all know that there's a point that we leave this behind. Yeah. We know that death is inevitable. I'm curious, like, what's your relationship like with death? Yeah,
it's a great question. I think my DMT experiences really removed a huge part of any fear around death. Because like I said earlier, it truly felt on my most deepest DMT and also Bufo. Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT. It comes from the Sonoran toad, and it blasts you, complete out-of-body experience. When you're out of the body and you realize you're still conscious, you have no body, but you're conscious. That profoundly affected me, and it removed, I would say, 99% of fear of death, because I now knew that consciousness continues. Now, if today you said, hey, James, would you like to leave this earth plane tomorrow? I would be a little bit nervous, but it would be nervous because I would feel like I did not fulfill my mission. Like I have more to do. I want to do more. I want to live more. So the fear would come from that, not the crossing over. The crossing over, go ahead, God. When it's time, I'm ready.
When it's time, it's time.
But please give me more time because I have more work to do. And that's been like this is why I feel like a sense of urgency is fucking vital. Sometimes I see people that are sort of sleepwalking through life and maybe that's their dharma and that's their karma and maybe they're meant to be going through life that way. But for me, I cannot forget this ticking clock of there's an urgency and you must get done what you think you came here to do. Yeah. I think we're all on a mission.
All on a mission.
And especially anyone listening to this podcast.
Yes.
If you're here listening to this conversation, you know this already. You're on a fucking mission. So get to it. There is an urgency that must never be forgotten.
Yeah, an urgency to create your deepest desire. Have you contemplated much around? So you mentioned about this, the fear of, there's death. You're okay with that, but the thing that you would be a challenge would be, have I created what I needed to create? Unfulfilled potential. Have you contemplated, and I'd be really curious to hear about this, what you would want people to remember you for? And if you were visualizing, say, like your gravestone, what you would want being left on it and what you would want the people who, were celebrating your life to be celebrating you for?
There's only one thing that I would want on the gravestone. He touched other people's lives in a positive way. I think that actually is our core mission underneath all our ambitions and goals and dreams. Have you left others in a better place than you found them? So to know that I've touched one life in a positive way and created a ripple in their life that will continue on, that's the best. That's the best feeling. And so impact is the word that comes to mind. If I can touch as many lives as I can positively and as few lives as I can negatively, because we're all human and we make mistakes. absolutely I've touched other people's lives negatively as well in an unconscious state. Those are the regrets, and that's where the forgiveness has to happen. And so to me, the only real significance is, how did you make other people feel? How did you make how did you leave them? Better off or worse off?
Well, I can say that you could actually die happy then, because from that statement,
Mm,
like, you've impacted my life, man. Like, you've left my life in a better place than when we first connected. For the way that you show up and the man that you embody. And this isn't just to blow smoke up your ass, by the way. This is like genuinely just like the way that you hold yourself, and the way that you share and express, and your message and your truth. So yeah, man, you on that scenario, but I get the broader picture is, how many lives can you have that positive effect on?
mhm.
And it's like that 1 billion you shared, like the 1 billion education, I suppose. I'm sorry, the impact in 1 billion people by educating them around psychedelics
Yeah.
is that broader mission of touch one life, then another, then another, then another,
Mhm.
and leave positive change.
There's another thing I'll add to the gravestone, which is, I hope it says something akin to, he lived his life with courage. So it's all good to have impact on other people, thousands, millions, billions. Um, but also, did you make the most of yourself? Did you conquer the fears? Did you play small or did you play full out? And so my mission is in a way twofold. One is to touch other people's lives in the most positive way I can, to lift their consciousness. The other is to not forget that I also must grow, and to not use the mission, the external mission, as an excuse to not make the most of myself. And hopefully I can do both in tandem and parallel. Both make the most of myself, conquer my fears, step into James 2.0, and at the same time impact others' lives positively. I think
Mm,
that's the mission we're all on.
yeah. And is that your driving force behind? Let's talk about Unlock God Mode.
Yes.
Yeah, your course that you've created. And yeah, let's talk about that. So the driver behind your creation of Unlock God Mode, and also, what is God Mode for the listeners?
Sure. So what I've done is I've created a course called Unlock God Mode, which is a 30-day audio journey. Every day you listen to a lesson from me that teaches you something about reality. The reason I created it was for my 20, 21, 22-year-old self. What I wish I could have told him. All the things he didn't know that I now know at 30. Things like how to live with intention, how to shift realities, how to let go of fears and step into courage. Um, God mode to me is sort of a term I borrowed from both psychedelics and maybe video games. Of, in a video game, the God mode is where you have these powers, these extra powers. You're no longer just the human player, you are in God mode. In psychedelics, God mode is when you're having a heroic dose of mushrooms or bufo or DMT, and you feel the unlimited nature of you. And so my course, the mission with that is to plug people into that unlimited, courageous, powerful self so that they can then go on and fulfill their mission.
That's awesome. Yeah, when you were sharing about the God Mode,
Yeah,
I just couldn't help but have a smile on my face, because it's just so cool that we have that potential inside of us.
we do.
Like, that unlimited potential. Almost like in Avatar,
Yeah.
the avatars, and then they plug into like Source, and then suddenly they get all of these downloads of information.
Hmm.
And it's so cool that we have access to that as well.
I think
Yeah.
when people also watch movies like Limitless or
Yes, that's a good
Lucy,
one. Yeah.
both of those movies, they connect to something primal within us. I think that something within us deep down knows that we are limitless, that we do have more potential than we're using. And so there's such a thrill in our life when we are able to conquer something within ourselves, expand our reality to a new level where we don't shrink back to the small self. where we are now permanently this new expanded self. Like there was a Samuel before this podcast, and there's a Samuel after this podcast launches. And it's two different Samuels. And you will never again be the same Sam. Isn't that fucking amazing? You've unlocked the God mode of the podcasting subgame. You know,
Yeah.
we have all these little subgames in the grand video game of life. You've unlocked that. I've unlocked that. What other games can we unlock that call to our soul? How good can we get? How brilliant can we get? How genius can we get?
Yeah, what greater level of potential do we have inside of us that we can experience and start to embody as our true self, as our new self?
Yeah.
And that's why there's unlimited possibilities that we can experience. I say, no matter what stage you get to, there's always something else that we can experience. That's like the beauty of this human reality.
Never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends. And you get to choose your own adventure. Sometimes people don't know what they want. You've been given the greatest gift of your life to choose what you want. Not knowing what you want is a little bit like staring at a block of marble and saying, okay, and having a little chisel in your hand and you're just sitting and staring at the block of marble. It's your job. You are the creator. You must decide what to carve out, what sculpture to make. That's our brilliant gift that we've been given, the power of choice. So anyone like struggling with, I don't know what to do in life, choose the most exciting option that calls to you in that moment. Bashar has a formula. Bashar is this guy, Daryl Anka, who channels an entity called Bashar. And he has the excitement formula. In every moment, pick the option that has the highest degree of excitement, act on it to the best of your ability, take it as far as you can with no expectation of the outcome. Because you don't know what the best outcome could be. Could be greater than what you imagine. So you act on your highest excitement, take it as far as you can, but no further, and watch what happens.
And to play that out, say a listener's gone on that journey and they've had the idea, right? I want to create this, and they've gone on that journey, they've played all out, they've got there, and then it wasn't didn't live up to what they thought, like with the sort of the vision that they had in their mind. They've now created, and it's like, oh, that was great for a moment, but now what? Like, what would you share to that person? How can they then move up the next mountain, like go on a new creation? If someone's kind of hit a peak that they never thought they could hit, I'm using the idea of, say, like a mountain. So they've climbed a mountain, they've got to the top, they're like, the view's amazing. And that mountain is a metaphor for, say, a business that they've built, or a relationship they've created, or a body that they've carved out. And then they've now walked up that mountain, and then suddenly they're like, well, this is way beyond what I could have ever imagined, but what now? What would you share to that person?
First, savor the success. We often don't take time to appreciate the win. We take 5 seconds to say, oh, we've done it, and then we move on. So savor the win, savor the journey and the challenges and the hardship and everything you had to overcome to get to that mountain peak. And then as quickly as possible, choose the next mountain peak. As humans, we need North Stars. We need direction. We need goals. And I find, for me anyway, personally, I'll speak for myself, I'm happiest when I'm moving towards something concrete. So if you find yourself at a plateau, or you've done something incredible and you're like, okay, what next? Take a moment to savor where you are. Go take a break, go in solitude on an island for a week if that's what needs to happen to reset your mind, to journal, to process. Take a mushroom trip. Take an ayahuasca journey if it calls to you. That can be very powerful to awaken new desires in you, awaken the next level of the mission. Even I would say, pray to God. If someone is stuck and they don't know what's next, set the intention, I would love to see what's next on my journey. God, I don't know what to do. Show me, give me a clue, give me a sign. If you do that for 21 days, 30 days, every day for 5 minutes, simply intending to be shown the next step, I would be shocked if you didn't, in those 30 days, run into someone or saw something or read something that sparked an idea in you. I would be shocked.
Mm. Yeah, so that person is like, take that moment of celebration,
Totally.
which, as you know, entrepreneurs, creators, it's so easy to just jump straight into the next thing and be like, oh, chase. Yeah, like taking that moment of celebrating, yeah, like the hardships and the challenges, and then almost creating a state where you're like, what next? Like, what would be truly meaningful and exciting,
Yeah.
and let them almost like let the mind wander using tools like psychedelics or meditation.
Yeah. And I also
Yeah.
like to think that that melancholy that people experience when they reach a great height and it's like, okay, what now? That's your emotions communicating a message to you. And the message might be take a moment, take a break, reevaluate where you are in life. Before you start climbing towards the next mountain peak, just take a moment, evaluate all your assets, all your strengths, all your gifts, what you enjoyed about the last leg of the journey, what you didn't enjoy, where you were too stressed out, where you've had the most fun, and then calibrate how you want the next 5 years to look like. How do you want the next 10 years to look like? So, for example, if someone achieved a great financial net worth, but they're at this mountain peak, they've got, whatever, several million, and they're like, you know what? My health is gone. I'm stressed out. I have no friends. They might be feeling that melancholy.
Mm.
They might be feeling depression. That's the body telling them, stop, reconsider how you want to go forward. Because you could easily scale that up to the next billion. But do you want to do that in the same way that you did the last 5 years? Or perhaps you want to take a journey that's more winding road, but more fun, or slower, but with teammates and collaborators. It's like you can add these flavors to your journey. Do I
Mm.
want to go solo? Do I want to go with people on this mountain hike? Do I want to take it slow and see the views, or do I want to hike as fast as I can? Do I want to water fast while I hike and make it super challenging? Or do I want to have a guide with luxury accommodation and glamping waiting for me at the top of the mountain peak? It's like you get to choose the adventure. So I think those moments of rest and recalibration are very important. If someone is
Yeah.
going through depression or melancholy or just a plateau, that is an excellent opportunity to stop, get still, and listen. Listen to what your intuition is saying. Listen to what your higher self is saying. Listen to what God is knocking on your door, trying to patiently communicate to you.
Yes. So powerful. When you're sharing that, the thing that's going on for me inside is I remember when I sat with the only time I've sat with Bufo
Mm,
was with a guy called Diego.
mm,
And Diego, before you like do the Bufo and have the experience, he does this talk and he's talking about choice, the power of choice. When you're sharing what you're sharing, that's what's going on inside. Is like you can choose. Like as you're going up the mountain, like you can choose whether you have teammates, you can choose whether you're fasted, you can choose whether you're drinking, eating, what you're eating. And as humans, we have the power of choice, but it's so easy to forget that we have that choice. So like we can choose to go on a healing journey. We can also choose to go on a success journey to build a business, but we can choose to build a business and be fulfilled and have a relationship. Like we have this power of choice. And I mean, he did this like the whole spiel on choice, but that was the nugget, the golden nugget that he kind of dropped before Bufo was like, you have the power of choice.
yeah.
And when you're sharing what you're sharing, that's what I'm hearing is like someone in any moment can choose. You can choose a different direction. You can choose a different state. You can choose a different thought. You can
Mhm.
choose a different frequency. Like we have this unlimited potential of choice as well. Like we can choose in any moment where I'm kind of going off on one here because I'm getting excited, but we can choose to move and take a drink, or
Yeah.
you can choose to stay still.
Yeah.
You can choose to sit in depression, or you can choose to shift your state. And we have this choice always, and it's just so it's empowering.
Choose the vibe. is how I like to say it. So there's all these flavors for getting the exact same thing, but with different vibes. So this podcast, for example, could have been really serious and methodical and tactical. It could be fun and lighthearted. It could be deep and transformative. These are all vibes for the exact same experience, but it's a completely different experience based on the vibe. So if someone truly doesn't know what's next, rather than picking the next goal, maybe just sit with what is the vibe you're craving. Are you craving more adventure, more fun, more intimacy, more ambition, more fire? What is like calling to you? That could be a powerful question for someone to sit with.
So powerful, man. Oh, I love it, bro. Well, thank you so much for today. We have this moment in time where we have on the show where we have the vault.
The vault.
So the vault with mystery messages inside. Again, you have the power of choice. You can choose which message you pick. You don't know which message is going to come.
The pressure,
yeah. But
the excitement, the mystery.
The awe, who knows?
I'm going to manifest a deep psychedelic question.
So yeah, please do.
You are a miracle with God energy within. You are capable of anything, and I encourage you to seek and then become the most incredible version of yourself. Rise and shine. Ends.
Epic.
Well, that fits with the vibe of this whole conversation beautifully.
Yes.
Couldn't have picked a better message.
You're a miracle, brother. Yeah.
Rise and shine.
Yes. That's awesome, man. And yeah, it fits with the intention that you have moving into that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Keep rising along the levels. Keep rising along the mountain peaks. Become your greatest self.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's what I really feel like I've learned as well from this conversation too, is that the power of choice and the power of continuing to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what level you've hit, what mountains you've climbed up, there's a different experience that you can have waiting on the other side of like the next hike.
Mm-hmm.
But actually understanding that on that next hike up the mountain, using them hiking as a metaphor, right? Whether that be the business, the relationship, the health, you can have the power of choice, like choice whether you want to do it alone, choice whether you want to do it as a team, choice whether you want to enjoy the journey, or choice whether you want to suffer through the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love that. It's awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can leave people with one message, is really become aware of the state you're operating in. I think how you get there is equally as important as getting there, whatever there means to you. How you get there. Did you run people over on your way to get there? Or did you uplift everyone along the way? Did you take time to nourish yourself and honor yourself and enjoy the journey? Or did you speed run through the whole thing but barely took a moment to look around? How you get there, the energy you bring to something is so important. That's just one thing I want to leave people with.
It's beautiful, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. This is such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for facilitating it. What a trip. What a pleasure.
The James Xander trip, yeah?
The James Xander and Samuel trip.
Amazing. Cheers, bro.
Cheers, brother.
Legend.